Welcome. Thank you all for joining me today as we begin our exploration of the exchange rate of your life. This presentation is designed to provide you with a comprehensive framework for understanding the profound relationship between your time and your value. Together, we will examine the mechanics of temporal arbitrage, learn how to calculate your real hourly rates, and discuss the long-term strategic benefits of the tenure dividend. As the illustration of the hourglass suggests, every moment is a transaction. Our goal today is to ensure that the exchange rate you are receiving for your life's work is optimized for both your financial success and your personal fulfillment. Let us begin.
Let's examine the fundamental asymmetry between two of our most critical resources, money and time. On the left, we recognize that money is inherently renewable. It is a resource that can be lost in its entirety and subsequently earned back. It can be leveraged, invested, and doubled. Its supply is not fixed. Conversely, as shown on the right, time is non-renewable. We possess no mechanism to manufacture more of it. Every second dedicated to the pursuit of earning is a second of existence that is gone forever. This concept is profoundly summarized by Henry David Thoreau, who noted that the true cost of any item is the amount of life required to be exchanged for it. Understanding this asymmetry is vital because it reminds us that while we can always seek more wealth, we can never recover the time spent acquiring it. The 3 stages of wealth evolution outline a clear progression toward financial and personal freedom. In stage 1, survival, the fundamental dynamic is trading time for money. Most individuals begin here, operating under a standard employment contract where the primary goal is to maximize the hourly value of the labor sold. This is the foundational phase focused on establishing financial security. As we transition into stage 2, optimization, the focus shifts toward trading money for time. At this level, wealth is used as a tool to buy back freedom by eliminating daily friction and outsourcing tasks. The objective is to reclaim one's schedule to focus exclusively on high-joy, high-impact activities. Finally, we reach stage 3, autonomy. Here, money is viewed as time itself. The ultimate goal is achieving total ownership of the calendar. In this final stage, wealth acts as a protective shield against unwanted obligations, providing the ultimate luxury, the ability to live entirely on your own terms. Most professionals calculate their value by simply dividing their salary by 2,000 hours. However, this is a dangerous oversimplification. To find your true worth, you must account for the hidden taxes of employment. By subtracting hidden costs from your income and dividing that total by the sum of your contracted hours and hidden time, you arrive at your real hourly rate. When accounting for these often overlooked factors, you will likely find that you are earning significantly less than you think. Step 1 in our process is calculating what we call real money, which represents the numerator of our equation. To find this figure, we must look beyond our gross salary and subtract the hidden costs associated with maintaining a career. We begin with commuting expenses, including fuel, tolls, train tickets, and the often overlooked cost of vehicle depreciation. Next, we consider wardrobe requirements, such as professional suits, uniforms, and regular dry cleaning. We must also account for convenience spending, those expensive lunches, house cleaners, or late-night takeouts we rely on because our work schedule leaves us with little time or energy. Finally, we subtract decompression costs, which include retail therapy or happy hours used specifically to recover from workplace stress. As illustrated by the funnel, once these factors leak out from our gross salary, we are left with the actual real money we have earned for our efforts.
Moving on to step 2, we need to calculate your real time, which functions as the denominator in our equation. To get an accurate number, we must account for hidden time, those hours that are essentially dedicated to your job even though you aren't being paid for them. First, calculate your total commuting time, measuring the full door-to-door travel for your round trip. Next, consider preparation time, which includes tasks like ironing work clothes, packing your lunch, and your specific morning routine. We also need to factor in decompression time. This is the period spent venting or mentally zoning out to recover from the workday. Finally, include any off-the-clock work, such as checking emails on the weekend or engaging in mental problem-solving while at home. By adding these categories together, we arrive at a much more realistic view of the time your career actually demands. Let's examine the high earner trap through this case study of an individual named Alex.
On paper, his situation appears ideal. A salary of $100,000 per year and a standard 40-hour workweek suggest a nominal rate of $50 per hour. This is the figure Alex uses to measure his professional value. In reality, however, his actual compensation is significantly lower. After deducting $10,000 in job-related costs, such as commuting expenses and work-related maintenance, his real income falls to $90,000. Furthermore, his time commitment extends far beyond the office. When we account for an additional 15 hours per week spent commuting and venting about work stress, he is actually dedicating 55 hours a week to his career. These factors reduce his real hourly rate to just $32. While Alex believes his time is worth $50 an hour, the hidden costs of his lifestyle mean he is trading his life for $32 an hour. This illustrates the high earner trap, a fundamental disconnect between perceived salary and the actual value of the time being traded. The golden handcuffs paradox illustrates a critical misconception about professional growth. Consider a promotion that offers a 20% pay increase but demands 50% more of your mental energy and time. In reality, this trade-off makes you poorer, not richer. While money can be thought of as stored time, it loses its utility if you lack the actual time to spend it. Unfortunately, many high earners continue to trade their time for additional wealth even after their needs are met, inadvertently shackling themselves to a lifestyle where they have the resources for a good life, but no time left to live it. Let's examine the tenure dividend and how to manipulate the professional equation in your favor. Modern career advice frequently glorifies job hopping as the primary path to advancement. However, switching roles resets your organizational efficiency to zero. Every time you change companies, you lose the institutional knowledge and social capital required to perform tasks effortlessly. Conversely, staying in a position allows you to compound leverage over time. This brings us to the key concept of efficiency arbitrage. The objective is to reduce the denominator, the hours you actually work, while keeping the numerator, your income, stable. As your tenure increases, your deep familiarity with the role allows you to achieve the same results in significantly less time, effectively maximizing your true hourly value while reclaiming your personal freedom. Let's examine how tenure directly impacts your effective rate through the lens of efficiency. On this graph, we see two primary lines: your compensation, or value delivered, which remains constant at 40 hours of output, and the effort required to produce that output over time. In your first year, you encounter what we call the learning tax. Because you are still mastering the nuances of the role, it may take 50 hours of effort to deliver 40 hours of value. This is the investment period where your rate is effectively lower due to the steep learning curve. However, as you move through years 2, 3, and 4, your efficiency increases significantly. By year 5, you reach the competence dividend. At this stage, your mastery allows you to deliver that same 40 hours of value in just 20 hours of actual effort. The key takeaway is clear. By staying in a role and building deep expertise, you effectively double your hourly rate. You aren't just working faster, you are extracting more financial and personal value from every hour you invest, simply by staying the course and leveraging your tenure. The J-curve of a job illustrates the standard trajectory of professional growth and value within a single organization. Most roles begin in what is known as the dip, a challenging period characterized by high stress and an intense learning curve. During this phase, your real rate, or overall value, is typically low because you are still building competence and establishing your reputation. However, those who persevere eventually transition into the rise. This is the stage of maximum autonomy and maximum trust, where your professional rewards and impact peak because you have built significant social and intellectual capital. The critical insight here is that frequent job hoppers often find themselves serving a perpetual life sentence in the dip. By switching roles every 2 years, they reset their progress and never stay long enough to reach the upward slope where the greatest professional stability and benefits are realized. Trust acts as a powerful catalyst for organizational efficiency, manifesting primarily through 3 key advantages for tenured employees. The first is the benefit of the doubt. In a high-trust environment, long-term tenure ensures that mistakes are perceived as isolated anomalies rather than systemic failures. This psychological safety removes the stress tax, allowing team members to innovate without the paralyzing fear of repercussions. Second, we see earned autonomy. Freedom in the workplace is typically negotiated through proven performance. Employees with a history of reliability are granted greater flexibility in how and when they work, which often leads to higher individual productivity and faster turnaround times. Finally, there is the element of leverage. Strategic value is built over time through deep institutional knowledge. It is inherently more difficult to replace a professional who understands the intricacies of legacy systems, giving them the security to focus entirely on high-impact objectives. Together, these pillars illustrate why building trust is the most effective way to increase overall organizational speed.
When we examine the advantages of long-term career tenure, we see two distinct forms of growth: financial compounding and skill compounding. On the financial side, longevity directly impacts your total compensation. Consider vesting cliffs. Leaving an organization prematurely often means walking away from substantial 401k matches and unvested stock options. Additionally, tenure serves as a financial safety net through severance packages, which are almost universally calculated based on your years of service. On the right, we see the concept of skill compounding. Achieving deep mastery requires seeing projects through their entire life cycle, from the initial spark of conception to the complexities of long-term maintenance. There is a stark contrast between possessing 10 years of deep experience versus having 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. While frequent job hopping can lead to a broad but shallow skill set, staying the course allows you to transition from a generalist to a true expert, building a level of institutional and technical knowledge that is impossible to replicate in short bursts. Tenure, therefore, is a strategic choice that builds both your net worth and your professional authority.
The outsourcing decision matrix provides a clear framework for determining how to best allocate your time and resources. When you identify a task that needs to be completed, the primary decision point is a comparison of costs. Is the cost to outsource this task less than your real hourly rate? If the answer is yes, the logical choice is to outsource. If the answer is no, then you should do it yourself. However, it is essential to consider the underlying caveat. This logic is only valid if the hour you save is redirected toward an activity you love or one that is lucrative. Consider the example provided. If your real hourly rate is $60 and hiring someone for lawn care costs $30 per hour, you effectively profit by outsourcing that work. By applying this matrix, you can ensure your time is spent on high-value activities that either generate more income or increase your personal well-being.
To conclude our discussion on temporal arbitrage, let's review the 4 key pillars of this philosophy. First, we must shift our mindset. Rather than working solely to accumulate currency, we should view our labor as a way to store up time. Money is a tool used to reclaim your most valuable asset. Second, perform a diagnostic by calculating your real hourly rate. This requires radical honesty about hidden costs, including travel, specialized clothing, and the mental overhead of your professional responsibilities. Understanding your true take-home value per hour is essential for effective arbitrage. Third, utilize the tenure dividend as your primary method. Efficiency is harvested over time. By staying in a position or field long enough to achieve mastery, you can produce the same output with less effort, effectively lowering the time cost of your income. Finally, keep the ultimate goal in sight. Never trade significant amounts of your finite time for money you do not strictly need. Arbitrage is about optimizing the balance between the currency you earn and the life you have left to live.